victory, the universal health coverage is still a pipe dream in Cameroon, with MPs squeezing public health minister why the life-saving initiative is delaying to take roots in Cameroon. Members of Cameroon's National Assembly urge government to diversify water and electricity production and distribution in the country to save Cameroonians from the pangs of ceaseless power outages and epileptic water supply. The National Professional Football League of Cameroon may resume this weekend after a prolonged coma that has left many wondering if the Elite One football had gone for good. Those are our lead stories. Hello, thanks for joining us. I am Ben Menopufong, and this is the 7:30 News.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Welcome once again. The universal health coverage in Cameroon was at the center of a spirited debate in Parliament today between members of the National Assembly and the Minister of Public Health. The MNAs took the minister to task why the project was yet to go in the offing, given that only 6% of Cameroonians are covered by a health insurance policy. Manauda Malachi told the MNAs that the project was 80% gone already and that once completed, it will render healthcare accessible and more affordable in the country. Cynthia Saptala followed the debate for the 7:30 News.
In his address to members of parliament during the recent plenary session, Minister Manauda Malachi presented the health scheme as it is, only 6.46% of the population currently covered, with households contributing more than 70% of the cost through direct payment. Three main questions relating to strengthening of the healthcare offer, organizing demand, governing and funding were addressed. In terms of improving on the healthcare offer, a file for investment has been drafted for the upgrading of the equipment pool in health training facilities as well as the human resources. In terms of organizing the demand, work has been done on developing a methodology for targeting poor and vulnerable persons. In terms of governing and funding for a more efficient management of resources, a draft law on the universal health coverage system has been developed. The minister also added that the universal health coverage is being carried out in a public-private partnership with a contract already signed between the government and the company Santé Universelle Cameroun to manage the framework of financing. Regarding social contributions of households as sources of funding, they will be mobilized through the state for public employees, and for private sector employees, it is through the National Social Insurance Fund.
Insurance experts have observed with regret the reality that not many Cameroonians subscribe for insurance policies. A lack of interest that relegates to the background a practice known to be a major lifesaver. In the following report, Ewane Epole reflects on how individual and collective health insurance policies are managed in the country.
Employer-based and individual health insurance plans are said to be common in Cameroon, although few people actually purchase life and health insurance policies, says insurance experts.
Health insurance is the most expensive. That's why insurance companies prefer to pay a set portion of the total charges of hospital bills, and employees may be required to pay for some services upfront and then apply to the insurance company for reimbursement.
The most common plan is the Preferred Provider Organization Plan, PPO.
Employees or individuals under the PPO plan need to get their medical care from doctors or hospitals on their insurance company's list.
Meanwhile, there is also the health saving account plan.
This special bank account allows individuals or employees to save money pre-tax to be used specifically for medical expenses in the future.
According to insurance experts, there is an option for everyone to get the coverage they need when making a choice for health insurance for their family and organization.
Though the cost of health care is somehow being subsidized in Cameroon, it nonetheless still remains out of the reach of the average Cameroonian. The cost of drugs, laboratory tests, and even consultation fees are still prohibitively high for many who easily resort to alternative medicines and treatment with all the hazards that they may entail. Rainatu Saleh reports on how Cameroonians treat themselves in the face of rising costs.
The high cost of healthcare is making most Cameroonians afraid of medical bills than an actual illness, they say.
It's too expensive, especially today like this. Just last month I went to the hospital with my grandson. I spent around 45,000 because he was having malaria.
It's very expensive because when you go to the hospital, before they want to consult, they ask you many things.
Consultation, laboratory examination and pharmacy fees are some of the out-of-the-pocket costs that hit patients, causing a barrier in treatment.
The prices of treatment varies based on the disease. For example, malaria treatment in Cameroon with an artemether and lumefantrine combination is going to range from about 2,000 to 4,000 depending on the molecule that has been used. That is quite affordable. But when we come to other complicated diseases, the costs of the laboratory tests will eventually be more expensive.
Embarrassed by the high cost, some patients seek treatment by the road.
According to the law of substitution, if a patient comes here and he cannot afford what the doctor has prescribed, you can replace with another one cheaper.
While Cameroonians continue to bear the brunt of high hospital bills, they remain hopeful the implementation of the Universal Health Coverage Scheme could be the way out.
We stay in health, but out of health costs now, we talk about the prevalence rate of prostate cancer in the country, which is on the increase with more younger people being diagnosed for the ailment. The urology service of the Yaoundé Central Hospital is indicating that the current prevalence rate of the disease in the country stands between 60 to 70%. The service today launched an open day event to sensitize the public on the situation of prostate cancer in Cameroon and the necessity for early diagnosis. Details with Nuea Ben Mudika.
Unlike before, men younger than 40 are today presenting with prostate issues, just as the prevalence rate keeps increasing among those consulted.
You have a lot of patients who has a low urinary tract symptom. It can be storing symptom, it can be voiding symptom. When we are receiving patients with low urinary tract symptom, few of them, they do have cancer of the prostate. You can see young people now, they do have cancer of the prostate. In those days, they do believe that the cancer of the prostate was for the adult.
And though they have what it takes to cater for patients at different phases of the ailment, a major aspect of the Open Door Days is to preach the necessity for early and regular diagnosis to avoid complications.
Why to conduct the campaign is to screen the patient in order to prevent the complication of the diseases.
The event consists of a scientific day on prostate cancer, a roundtable on its update in Cameroon, and free screening to determine the situation of each patient and their corresponding treatment.
Members of Cameroon's National Assembly have vehemently condemned the insufficient and irregular supply of water and electricity in the country. At a 6-hour plenary sitting in Yaoundé today, chaired by House Speaker Kavai Yegejibril, the legislators exhorted the government to diversify the production and distribution of these utilities that are not only crucial for human survival, but indispensable for our healthy society and economy. Esther Kmer now picks on some of the issues as were raised by the MNAs.
A severe shortage of water and energy supply that cuts across the nation, hampering social, economic and industrial activity, the House Speaker, the Right Honourable Jibril, cries out for urgent solutions. The deficit is acknowledged by Minister Gaston Ilundu-Esomba and blamed on obsolete equipment. The cruciality of the issue prompts 30 legislators to quiz governments on the over 500 broken transformers and insufficient thermal plants.
Our subdivision is the oldest subdivision in this country, 1963. We've never known what is electricity.
Why are all this equipment in all the interconnection zones? Why do all of them get bad at the same time?
The state needs over 6,000 billion CFA francs to address the electricity on the supply and is now investing.
You have the problem of wooden poles, and you have to change it by cement poles. Government is working in order to improve the productions by the new dam. Menveler line transmission will be completed before the end of this year.
While some 3,000 boreholes are currently being drilled and 350 scan water stations installed for better quality and distribution, the lawmakers have a say.
Rehabilitate water network and circuits which are damaged, create source of potable water supply for urban and rural population.
It is hoped that with a strong political will and financial resources, the tides can change.
Cameroonian girls have been urged to take active part in the production of local products as an opportunity to showcase their know-how and ingenuity. The call was made during a conference in Yaoundé organized by FOTAC, which is an organization of female entrepreneurs of the Semak region, and it is seeking to encourage local production while discouraging importation. Details with Gerald Nanji Eyambe.
In order to encourage made-in-Cameroon products for the local markets and at the sub-regional level, the FOTAC Semak Women, an organization of female entrepreneurs, has presented to the world a variety of different products. This was the aim of a conference which took place in Yaoundé this Monday.
As Semak Women, we think that we also have the capacity to assist or contribute in the transformation of local products. We count on the support of government to be able to put our contribution in the development of this sector.
Booster la production agricole.
We are trying to give a very good product for the consumption of the consumer, a product that will respect the norms. We are helping the FOTAC to realize their dreams.
According to the dynamic ladies, this is to protect national industries and brands and to discourage the importation of foreign products. This, they argue, is also to support the employability of young girls and female entrepreneurs severely affected by the impact of the COVID-19 health crisis situation.
Government's determination towards promoting civic status identification of its citizens in the far north region of the country is unshakable. The commitment was re-echoed by the Director General of the National Civic Status Registration Office, BUNEC, Alexandre Marie Yomo, who has been on a week-long visit to the region assessing the functioning of newly created civil status registration centers out there. Sylvester Temkin reports that the new centers were set up with support from the Japanese government.
Official statistics indicate that some 40,000 children of school-going age in the far north region do not have birth certificates, hence their education might be compromised. Working sessions with administrative and municipal authorities enabled officials of the National Civil Status Registration Office and the United Nations Development Programme to measure the magnitude of the problem and take remedial measures.
These motorcycles are offered by Japan to the UNDP registrars to have great care.
One of such is the opening of civil status centers to ease declaration upon childbirth. For easy deployments, motorcycles and other logistics have been put at the disposal of civil status registrars through Japan-Cameroon Corporation.
With this motorcycle, when we go back, we will make a sensibilization, and it will be easy for us now to have a contact with the people, and this the secretary can travel all the area and to collect all the documents, and we will deliver directly the birth certificate.
Parents in the region have been enjoined to spontaneously declare births so as to give their children legal existence.
We take you over to the northwest region of Cameroon, where the first project to get school dropouts in that part of the country into mainstream education has been designed. The project, whose architect is the Grace Charitable and Rehabilitation Organization, BrigadeAntiSardinard, also includes widows and single mothers of the region for their economic empowerment. We have details of that report from CRTV Northwest with Mabel Saka.
Members of BrigadeAntiSardinard, an NGO in Bamenda, strategizing on 2 life-saving projects for the vulnerable population of the region. One on school resumption. The first beneficiaries of the Back to School project, worth some 82 million CFA francs, will be selected from Mezam, Menchum, Bui and Boyo divisions.
Each child will back home a school bag, books, exercise books, and maybe textbooks for maths and English. And we're intending that each pack should cost at least 15,000.
10 widows and 10 single mothers will also be economically empowered by the NGO in each area.
In Bamenda 1, we intend to train on poultry farming. In Noni, we intend to train on pig farming. So it would depend what suit what area that we go.
Field workers of the organization in the target areas will pass through churches, traditional authorities and social centers to identify the beneficiaries. BrigadeAntiSardinard, founded some 5 years ago, has already assisted some 1,000 vulnerable persons, with over 700 from the Northwest region.
We stay in the Northwest region, where over 27,000 vulnerable persons living in that part of the country will now benefit from access to quality rehabilitation and inclusive eye care services. This follows the launch of 2 projects aimed at ensuring eye care services to the underprivileged and disabled persons, sponsored by the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services in collaboration with humanitarian organization Christian Blind Mission. From Bamenda, Clenis Ayombam reports.
Persons with disabilities testify they are often victimized in circumstances related to the armed conflict. Given that they are in need of physical and psychological support, these 2 projects, Disability Inclusive Humanitarian Action and Inclusive Eye Health, have come to assist them.
When they were running away, they abandoned their wheelchairs because it was bogus for them to carry. They misplaced, or their white canes got broken on the way. And so we need someone to do a replacement of all of these, because without these items, they remain dependent on the community.
Community health workers will mobilize the target who will benefit from affordable surgeries and quality glasses.
COVID-19 pandemic has greatly impacted the capacity of eye care partners to continue providing eye care services. And the absence of this service is a high risk for blindness. So we're able to come with the support of 400,000 euro to ensure that patients and caregivers are protected.
These projects will run to December 2022 in all CBC health facilities in the Northwest region.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Cameroon will be launching a more aggressive immunization campaign against the coronavirus come Wednesday, July 7, 2021. The vaccination campaign seeks to reach out to at least 40% of the Cameroonian population as the country intensifies efforts to halt the spread of the pandemic in the country. We now join Gilbert Ongene and the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the National Immunization Program, Dr. Andreas Njor, as they explore the major axes of the imminent campaign. Hello, Gilbert.
Emergency Operations Center. Well, the mass vaccination campaign will run for 5 days. That's from the 7th to 11th of July this year. We are here with Dr. Andreas Njor, who is of the National Immunization Program. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Gilbert.
Now tell us, the 5 days, would the 5 days be enough to attain herd immunity, that's vaccinate 40% Cameroonians?
Okay, thank you so much, Gilbert. I think the first thing to note is the fact that the campaign is an opportunity to vaccinate as many persons as possible. And talking about herd immunity is a long-term goal between now and 2022. So as of this 2021, the goal is to vaccinate at least 20% of the population. And this mass campaign, bearing in mind that our vaccination coverage is still very low, this mass campaign will help us vaccinate as many persons as possible. That has been the routine of vaccination campaigns in Cameroon. We are fond of 3 days. For this vaccination, we go to 5.
Okay, now, after the 5 days, would there be need for another intensive mass vaccination campaign, maybe by the end of this year or next year?
Just like at the moment, vaccination against COVID is a routine process in all vaccination centers. So during the campaign, it will be the case, and in community, in enterprises. And after the campaign, it will continue in routine in all the vaccination sites. And a campaign will be organized as will be deemed necessary by the actors.
Cameroonians ought to get used to these mass vaccination campaigns, because when deemed necessary, other intensive mass vaccination campaigns could be organized either towards the end of this year or in 2022. Over to you, studio.
Thank you very much, Gilbert Ongene. And we continue on this newscast. Over 20 students have graduated from the Yaoundé Holy Family University Institute for Business, Medical and Biomedical Sciences after witnessing a 2-year training. The students of the maiden batch of Habish, who say they are now ready for the job market in the health sector, were awarded diplomas on a special event organized in the Yaoundé neighborhood of BMRC. We have details with Ewane Epole.
Holy Family University Institute for Business, Medical and Biomedical Sciences graduated its first batch of students that have completed a 2-year training course.
It's sending out 20 students today, 6 midwives and 16 nurses. And we offer midwifery, nursing, lab technicians, and food dietetics.
The graduates are now holders of HND diplomas. The Higher Institute, Habish, also expect to graduate bachelor degree holders through the partnership with the University of Bamenda.
Here we're talking of education in the health sector, a sector which is strategic for our country. Here we're witnessing a school that is qualified, and the government has authorized it to function.
The graduation ceremony was marked by the award of end of course diplomas and the handing of gifts to outstanding students.
A new border post of the 2nd Rapid Intervention Battalion B has been opened in Zamboy near Garouabulai in the east region of Cameroon, with mission to check trans-border insecurity in the area triggered by the crisis and turmoil in neighboring Central African Republic. The inaugural was twinned with the handing over of 2 classrooms built and equipped by the Rapid Intervention Unit to the population of Zamboy. Celestine Sumbele completes that story from CRTV East.
Situated some 500 meters from the Central African Republic, the population of Zamboy in the Lom and Jerem suffer regular transborder insecurity. This greatly affects the population, including pupils of the government primary school of Zamboy. In a bid to enhance education while ensuring peace and security in the locality, a frontier post of the 2nd Rapid Intervention Battalion B was set up.
When we arrived here in this place, we realized that there was no classroom.
The only classroom was very, very in bad condition. That's why we decided to build another classroom and also to provide benches.
The event equally witnessed the handing over of the keys of 2 classrooms equipped with benches and the old building rehabilitated. The divisional officer of Garwa Bulai praised the donors for the gesture, which comes to reinforce the civilo-military ties in the area.
The construction of the B camp in this village comes to complete the security coverage of the subdivision at 90%.
The speakers at the event called on the population to collaborate with the security forces for their safety and the territorial integrity of Cameroon.
Now on to this presidential decree to organize an official funeral in honor of Mr. Simon Achidi Achu. The President of the Republic hereby decrees as follows. Article 1. An official funeral shall be organized in honor of Mr. Simon Achidi Achu, former Prime Minister who died on the 4th of May 2021 in the United States of America due to illness. Article 2. The official funeral shall take place on Saturday, the 3rd of July 2021 in Santa Mezam Division of the Northwest Region. Article 3. This decree shall be registered, published according to the procedure of urgency and inserted in the official gazette in English and in French. Yaoundé, the 28th of June 2021. Paul Biya, President of the Republic. The Cameroon telecommunications company, Camtel, is bent on improving the quality of services to its customers across Cameroon and even beyond. This is the outcome of a working session that took place at Camtel's head office here in Yaoundé with a delegation of the network of senators and parliamentarians in charge of telecommunications, information technology, and communication. It was presided over by the Deputy General Manager of Camtel, Ole Daniel Desiree. Anna Ekonde completes that story from CRTV Center.
The parliamentarians and senators brought complaints of the people of their constituencies on the constant interruptions of electronic signals and to brainstorm on strategies to ameliorate the quality of services.
The population is complaining because of the too much cut of telephone calls, telephone network, telephone problems.
Already covering 52 out of the 58 divisions of Cameroon with 12,000 kilometers of optic fiber transporting electronic signals via underground high-tension wires and pipelines to 3 multinational mobile telephone companies not leaving out their fixed and mobile options and a sophisticated data center in Zamungwe, Camtel authorities assured the lawmakers that the expectations of their constituents will be met.
We have made 2 presentations to show what we have done so far, things that are being done, and they seem satisfied by the response, and we seize the opportunity to tell them our problems and they promise to help us to draw the attention of the authorities to help Camtel.
Since the 2 main problems that provoke constant interruptions in the transportation of electronic signals include the damage of the optic fiber by massive road constructions and natural disasters, Camtel promised lawmakers that all such difficulties are being corrected.
Camtel is out to give the customer the best treatment. The first correction was done at 98.88%. And the second phase is to start at the end of this month, all about the whole country, to rectify everything and to extend the network of Camtel everywhere.
The Cameroon telecommunications company, Camtel, was visibly up to the task to the satisfaction of the parliamentarians and senators who hope there will be less complaints this time.
And as I was announcing in the headline, the second round of the National Football Professional League is announced for this weekend. This is the substance of an interview granted to the CRTV by the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Fcfa, Seydou Mbombonjoya. The Fcfa boss also stated that they have tendered a request to the Confederation of African Football for an extension of the time to enable the federation prepare clubs for CAF's continental assignments. We're sorry we can't give you that report in this newscast, but you can be sure that we will be coming back to it in our subsequent newscast. And now on to this press release from the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister, head of government, Chief Joseph John Gute, shall on Tuesday, the 29th of June 2021 at 10 a.m. at the auditorium of the Prime Minister's office install into function Mr. Joseph Chebonken Kalabupse as the President of the National Communication Council, appointed by presidential decree in June 2021, and that press release has been signed by the Director of Cabinet, Balungeli Confiance Ebune. That's it for this edition of the 7:30 News. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow, 7:30.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Our world today is full of uncertainty. But then, do we really need to be worried? If the infrastructures that are built today could bring development to our regions, if the opening up of our business to the world could be expanded, if more avenues to bridge the gap between our cultures could be explored, what then if we had no cause to be worried? Our government, through the 2020-2030 National Development Strategy, is even more than in the